Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're talking about canoe paddles. More specifically, if a bent paddle is faster than a straight paddle, we're gonna do some investigation, which involves getting out on that water and doing some testing. So with that being said, let's go. So I was just in at Western Canoe and Kayak in Abbotsford, BC. Not a sponsor, but that is my hometown canoe shop, paddle shop, I guess. And I was picking up a new paddle. So I bought this here, 56-inch paddle, because actually probably I've been using too long of a paddle. I've been using a 60-inch paddle. And anyways, they're broken, so I needed a new one. So I went in, I purchased this paddle, and while I was there, they sold me this bent paddle. I've been told these bent paddles are faster, but when I googled it, it said there has not been a lot of research, so they do not know how fast these paddles are. So I decided to take it upon myself to go do some testing. So I'm here at my local lake, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my straight paddle, my 56-inch straight paddle, and my bent paddle, and I'm going to do 2 tests. And then I'm going to compare the results to see if I got any faster or if I got any slower with a bent paddle. So with that being said, what I'm going to do first is take my straight paddle and do a I'm going to do a 40-minute test. Half an hour sounds too short, but an hour sounds too long. I do not want fatigue to be a factor in this test. So I'm going to do a 40-minute test of just a standard straight canoe paddle. And then when I'm done that, we will talk about the difference between the straight paddle and the bent paddle, why this is theoretically better, faster, and then we will do another test the exact same amount of time, and we will compare the results, and we will learn if a bent paddle is faster than a straight paddle in the canoe. So with that being said, let's do the first test. Okay, so I just came to a stop just now, and while I was on the move, I decided the wind was going to be big enough of a factor that I decided to do an out and back. So I tried to keep my time as best I could, but I had to adjust my timer. And at one point I was so close to the shore, I saw a dead bird, and I had to get out to take a photo of it. So my actual moving time was 43 minutes, but my speed, it says I went 5.3 kilometers an hour and 3.68 kilometers. So, like I said, my average speed was 5.3 kilometers an hour, which I think is the important thing. No matter how far I go, the average speed is the average speed. So, with that in the books, I am going to take a quick break here, and I think I'm going to eat a little Cliff Bar or something. So I have some energy. I'm going to rest a few minutes, and then I'm going to do my bent paddle test. Before I do my bent paddle test, I'll show you the reason you want to do the bent paddle. Again, that's bent, that is straight. I do not know what the angle is, but there's a huge difference. But I guess the idea is you put your paddle in straighter, so you have longer that your paddle is vertical. So it should be more efficient, more powerful. You should be able to get more distance. So, with that being said, I am going to repeat this test, go 20 minutes out, 20 minutes back, and see if my time is any faster, any slower, or if I could glean anything. So, let's go. Okay, so I just finished test number 2 with the bent paddle, and I've canoed actually 45 seconds longer, and I went 400 meters further with the same 5.3 kilometers an hour average speed. So I guess we learned that it is not faster, or very marginally faster, but I think I will save my final thoughts until I can get home and actually think about this. Maybe there's some more information on here that might be useful, but I think that was interesting to say, interesting to find out. But with that being said, I'm gonna paddle a little bit more because I got some training to do, because I got big plans this summer as far as canoeing. So I got to get some kilometers in these arms. So I'm gonna go do some more canoeing, and then I'm gonna go home and we'll give it some final thoughts there. So first thing I want to do here is correct some of the bad math that I just put in this video. First of all, the difference between the straight paddle and the bent paddle was not 400 meters, it was 40 meters. And I actually canoed 45 seconds longer with the straight paddle, and I believe I said that the opposite in this video. I did also say panel instead of paddle in the intro to this video. New panels. So it is more than just math errors that I make. Anyways, since my results were close and like I said they were not ideal, I decided I needed to redo this test. So I went to a lake to redo it. And I was chased up the lake due to wind. So I went to a third lake. And then I redid this test again. The results are similar, but I would describe these ones as better. So I'll open up my map here again. And with the bent paddle, I went 0.06 kilometers further in my 40 minutes. This time I was only 3 seconds off on my 40 minute timer. So that's 60 meters further in 40 minutes. And my average speed on this with the bent paddle was 5.3 kilometers an hour, which was the same as the original 2 tests. But with the straight paddle, I went 5.2 kilometers an hour. So that was the first time I'd actually noticed a difference in my average speed as per Strava. So I think that was pretty interesting. I do want to note that I did this in a figure 8 pattern instead of the out and back. So there was no like time wasted, and there was like less variables. I kept going against the wind, in the wind, all that stuff. So I think these are good results. And I think that does prove that a bent paddle is faster, although marginally faster. So if you think about it, for every 1 hour you travel, you gain an extra 100 meters of free distance, essentially, which would take to earn 1 free extra kilometer, it would take you 10 hours. And if you go on a 100 kilometer canoe trip, at that pace, it would be 19 hours, and you would get 1.9 kilometers worth of distance over a 100 kilometer span. So that's definitely not nothing. It is definitely something. And if you were, say, racing, that would, I guess, be a big difference, because it would be an advantage, and you got to win by any means necessary. But unless you're doing that situation, because I've done 100 kilometer canoe trips and I would not notice 1.9 kilometer overall total difference. That's less than half an hour's worth of paddling, so it is not much. So with all that being said, yes, a bent canoe paddle is faster by not a lot. So if you're slow, don't blame your paddle. Peace.